Here. We are recording. We are live. Welcome to the weekly Restoration Rebel Roundtable. I am Andy McCabe, your restoration leader, and we have got a full house. This is going to be phenomenal. So we're going to start it out. We start out every week by reading the Rebel rules. We've all agreed to, hopefully, and then we'll get into a little bit more roundtable discussion. The Restoration Rebels push the agenda of the Restoration 2.0 movement. Our purpose is to empower and educate the insurance consumer in order to create a more fair claims process. Rebel rule number 1, I will protect the value of my services. I will never provide free services, as these only serve to erode the value of contractor services industry-wide. Rebel rule number 2, I will practice incredible transparency in my communications. I will explain our processes in detail to my client. I will never hide details or manipulate reports. I will never communicate with a third party without also communicating with my client. Rebel rule number 3, I do not believe in competition. The restoration companies in my market are a part of my community. I will be an active member of the restoration community. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. Rebel rule number 4, I am willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that is not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth taking part in if it requires losing money, sleep, or my humanity. Can I get an amen? All right. 2 more people want to get in the group. Let's see here. Get in there. There we go. All right. First off, before we get going, who is new to the group? This is their first roundtable they've come into? Mr. Jake. Jake, you're out of where?
Cary, North Carolina, right next to Raleigh, capital, owner of Carolina Water Damage Restoration.
Perfect. Full service restoration, mold, and a whole shooting match.
Yep.
All right. Randy Phillips, I'm looking at a blank chair. I'm assuming he'll be back. Chuck, you've been in these before, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right. You don't get to introduce yourself again. Sorry.
You're all right.
Who else is a first-timer here?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. Where are you from?
Redmond, Oregon, just up the street from you.
Oh, there you are. Mike Davis, of course. We had a phone conversation this afternoon. We are going to do the first group pricing feedback. Hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we can get all the local non-competitors. We're going to get together and talk about pricing feedback, what we're going to do to help ourselves through feedback with Xactimate. So, Mike, I'm looking forward to doing that. Mike, you've got the Rainbow franchise out of Redmond, right?
That's correct.
And then how long have you been in restoration?
Well, as far as Rainbow is concerned, a little over 5 years.
Okay.
I've been doing repair work in the restoration business for almost 10.
Perfect. And Just Watley, this is your first time here, yeah? No, you've been into these before.
No, excuse me. Talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'm talking to Mr. Watley. He's muted.
Yeah, I think I've been around for a round table or 2.
Okay, perfect. Well, I did want to mention at $7 a month, the Actionable Insights database is priceless. It's actually free. It's going to pay you 100x on your money, your $7, to get in there and use that Actionable Insights. So I want to give you that plug because I know you worked hard on that database, and there's an incredible amount of value in there. So you guys check it out. It's getinsights.com. Is that correct?
Getinsights.org. We're a foundation. Thank you so much, Andy. That means the world to us, buddy.
No,
we're trying real hard.
Thank you. It's profound. Just check it out. I can't adequately describe how much good information is in that regarding how to write better Xactimate estimates, how more thorough Xactimate estimates. So, all right, Clark, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to let some other people in the room. Clark, why don't you tell us what you want to talk about tonight?
Well, first, let me Let me see. Am I muted? No. Let me continue with the introductions because I know we've got a few other people, but I wanted to personally introduce someone that I have known for many, many years. Joined our group. Has an incredible background. It's Jim Shank. Jim Shank, who he looks surprised that I mentioned him. Couldn't make it on the call a few weeks ago. Still handling a lot of hurricane stuff, but Jim also comes from I'll let him introduce himself, but it comes from a lot of large and operationally minded companies and doing large loss and whatnot. So Jim, if you wanted to chime in where you're from, what you do, what's your favorite color, which ears are pierced, all that kind of stuff.
No piercings. Sorry, it's a family show.
You're still muted, Jim.
Let me see if I can unmute him. There we go.
He's on the help. There we go.
Lots of restoration experience, but not a lot of IT experience. Sorry, gentlemen.
No worries.
Thank you for having me. Jim Shank of Core Team, Inc. Been in the business 18, 20 years. Started out as a laborer with Surf Pro, worked my way up, was a vice president at a medium-sized restoration company. And like Clark said, I'm back from the hurricanes for a little break for Thanksgiving and headed back out next week. So thanks for having me. Hope
no rest for the wicked. Which hurricanes are you focusing on?
Right now we're down in Florida. Picked up some more projects down in Florida, so I'll be headed back down to Naples area here next week. For
how much longer? How much work do you think is down there? About a year?
Probably. I mean, I just picked up an apartment complex of 300 units, and that was last week. I was down there 2 weeks ago, and I'd say, residentially, there's still a whole lot of blue tarps on roofs down there. Still rumors of a lot of damage. Still getting people calling us up because we've been in the area asking us if we can come look at stuff for them because the insurance company hasn't made it out or they've gotten junk estimates from the insurance company and want a second opinion.
Yep.
So I'd say it's still a lot of work down there.
Sure enough. That's why we do what we do. All right, Clark, what else we got?
Yeah, appreciate it. We've got 5 or 6 pages. We got a lot of new people here. Maybe at the end we can circle back around. But today I talked to Mr. Blaine Perry, who I don't see, by the way. Blaine, if you're on,
not here yet.
I don't see Blaine here. I'd say I kind of wanted to follow an agenda. We didn't probably create the one we wanted, and I sure didn't talk to you, Andy, before we had the call. But number one, I wanted to kind of trim off some of the extra. I like to, some of the introductions of people that have been here a long time, and we already did that. But I wanted to talk about all of us that are rebels now, all of us carrying the moniker, all of us kind of waving the flag, to be conscious of where and what we post elsewhere and what we do. I wanted to bring up a very deprecating. I made a mistake this week on a LinkedIn, and we're not as active on LinkedIn as we are on Facebook. Facebook is much easier to be social on, but there was a post by a gentleman, and myself and another rebel, who I don't think is here either,
don't see him.
Just tagged like 6 or 8 people from this group, mostly some of the admins or whatnot. But this guy's post was advertising his business. He has a business that
he was marketing a service.
Marketing a service. It was not a discussion post. It was not a, hey, what do you think about programs and TPAs? He makes his living inside of that ecosystem, and he does very, very well. And he probably has a lot of great clients that have done very well. Well, we jumped to the conclusion of, okay, here's an opportunity for us to maybe indoctrinate some people. And we, although our comments were not jaded, they were certainly outlining what we thought and what we did not care for about programs and TPAs, race to the bottom. The gentleman reached out immediately and said, listen, I know you guys and I know what you're into, and I love your passion, but this is my livelihood. And that was a very specific one. And I think everyone taking a few more minutes would have recognized would have recognized that, hey, this wasn't the forum for that. Well, I didn't do so. Although my words weren't terribly negative, he had 600 or 800 views that saw an alternative to what he was trying to sell or what he believed in. So I removed my post, and I guess my comment or my question for everyone is just being conscious, taking a break, taking a deep breath before we jump in. And I made a post right before this call. Not everyone is on board what we're doing. Not everyone's ready to be. And it's a long play. And I think me and Andy and Kevin Dooley decided, and Watley was on the call about 2 weeks ago, this is not going to be a vinegar. This is going to be a honey with a little bit of chipotle in it. Is that what we decided, Andy? a little bit of chipotle. It's going to be honey. We are, more than anything else, we are trying to educate people. We're not trying to bash people's heads in. And while that was not the intention of that gentleman's post of tagging everyone or my comments, it came across that way. So
yeah,
I think if we have a longer plan to go from 1,300 to 2,649, we cannot alienate everyone and expect everyone to just, if you're either with us or without us. There's a world where we're all going to exist together. We just have to, I stand true into where we are. So I wanted to outline that, and not to, I don't want to censor anyone. I just wanted to ask, if you're going to wave the flag and carry the moniker, do it with class, and I'll do the same.
Yeah, and I am 100% in agreement with that. What happened was somebody made a comment and then tagged a whole bunch of us, and it just made it look like we were piling on, even though none of us had any idea that it was happening. And I'd like to say our message, your message, everyone, when you go out there and represent yourselves and represent our brand, and that's what we're building, is a brand, your words will stand on their own. You don't need us to pile on. You don't need to tag everybody to make sure we all see it. What you're saying, if it's coming from your heart and it's true to your core, it should stand on its own. And we don't need to act like bullies out there. And that's what it's looking like in certain instances. We're looking like bullies, and we don't need that. We're going to get where we need to go through our 100% transparency. I have no fear of what any carrier or any TPA is going to say or do, because we're going to tell them what we're going to do. They're not going to believe it's physically possible, and then we're going to make it happen anyway. So there's a great book, The Innovator's Solution, which says, I'm sorry, Clark, I'll let you get in there in a second. The Innovator's Solution says once a company gets so big, it cannot innovate, physically cannot innovate. Even though you tell it, these are the things you need to do because the market is changing in these ways, they physically can't turn their ship because it's a Titanic. It does not turn fast enough, and they will get out-innovated and become irrelevant very quickly, and that's where we're headed. Go ahead, Clark.
No, and just to piggyback off of what I already said, is that there are a lot of people looking to make a fool of us and what we're talking about,
Sure.
because we go against what they say, and some of them have loud voices. So I think, again, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and I'm going to continue to act forward as so. And I would ask anyone else, just take a pause, take a breather before we post something. I'm the first one that usually has a quick-witted answer or a sharp-tongued response. But I thought I outgrew that 20 years ago, but apparently I haven't fully outgrown it. But that's about it. And then I just wanted to announce that, and Andy, I'm gonna go ahead and reach out. When do you think the week before Christmas we can have some preliminary structure on the Nashville show? Do you think that's too early? Like,
I don't think that's unreasonable. We can have. I'm sure. Yeah, by then we'll have signups ready to go. We'll have a way for people to buy tickets. We're not going to have a hotel lined up or anything like that. But yeah, we can definitely get tickets, selling some tickets.
I've been getting asked about that a lot, and I thought that would be fair right before Christmas. That gives everyone 4 months to really kind of chisel off their calendar for that week, for that weekend. But I wanted
to just say that again. The 4th.
Okay.
May 4th.
May 4th in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Thank you.
And the biggest thing is I think I mentioned it last week is we have gotten so big so fast that now we've got to be incorporated. We've got to have an LLC in place. We've got to have a board of directors because we're going to be talking about spending some serious money on a good size event, and that's something that no one person should be able to should have to take on the personal liability of that thing. So that's the biggest thing. We're growing pains. We're growing up. We're putting on our big boy pants and being a real thing. So that's the biggest holdup. All right, what else we got?
That's all I've got. By the way, Stephen Hull just said he would be in Nashville at the end of the month, so he could run some recon on some places if we're at that point. But I just don't think we're going to be quite there yet for selection. Perfect. I think we can do that in January. Other than that, I didn't have anything big and blaring. Man, I wanted to reciprocate what you said and repeat. We've got so many people in here tonight. We've got some new, some old. I know they're not easy to make. I know some people wanted to be here and they had kid things going on, a lot of sports things. A lot of people still had family from the holidays. So I just wanted to tell everybody thanks for being here and just, leaving it open at the end for any topics. Absolutely.
Well, I'd like to do some vision casting before we get into individual topics. I was able to go to my folks' house for Thanksgiving, and my dad's got some health issues related to diabetes. And he went to the doctor a couple weeks ago, and the doctor said, "Oh, this has become a little bit more serious, and I'm going to prescribe this thing." I don't know what he prescribed. And my dad said, "All right, well, if it's going to save my life, I'm going to do it. We're going to go down that road." Well, the insurance company said, "Well, we can't pay for that. We don't pay for that because you haven't done X and Y before Z. Because our program rules say that, according to our guidelines, that you have to do this activity and this thing before you can get this prescription or this prescribed action." And when my dad told me that story, I was like, shit, that's the same exact thing, only it's in the medical insurance field. And it really hit me that what we're trying to do here is not just specific to construction. It's not just specific to restoration. What we're trying to do here is change a national mindset of what it means to have insurance and use insurance, and who's in charge of that action. Who tells us what the best action is to take on any water damage or mold or sewer damage? Who tells the doctor what the best action is? Because if I'm going to the doctor, I'm going to take the doctor's opinion, not the insurance company's opinion. So if we can prove the concept here and make the change here, that's a proof of concept to something that can go national in a lot of different fields. What if we had Dr. Rebels that had the national gumption and the national ability to say, no, we are the doctors, we are the professionals. We will say what is and is not done in my practice with my patients. That's the vision I get. We're not just talking about us. We're not talking about construction. We're talking about an entire game shift. And it's happening now. It's happening with us. And what's really exciting is that I can see a future where the whole ball game has changed. And that's what I get excited about. And look at all the people in this room. We are doing it. People are getting overhead and profit on mitigation right now. They are. Adjusters don't like it. Carriers don't like it, but it's working. So we stay the course. We mind our P's and Q's. We do the best professional service we can provide at the highest level of quality. We are the avant-garde. We are not cutting any corners. We are leading the industry in everything we do. We are untouchable. And then all of a sudden we run it. We have flipped it. That's what gets me excited. All right, enough soapbox. Who had a problem this week that they weren't able to get solved that maybe we can help them with? David Sweet's wearing a shirt. Man, a Christmas shirt. Look at that.
A nice vacation shirt.
Vacation shirt? You don't get vacations.
Yep. Well, no, I worked, but I did leave town when I worked.
Hey, can we put images up on the screen?
Yeah, man. You can do whatever you want. That's your world.
Well, not whatever, but Clark and I have had long conversations. I don't really want to give him that kind of freedom.
Yeah, I'm gonna reel that one back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure. I'm gonna pop it. I'm gonna bring it up here in a minute. One of our
You're on your phone though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm kind of on a few different devices here, so keep going. But I've got an image is gonna pop up in a minute. And everybody's gonna say cool. So keep going.
All right. Come on, someone's got to have a burning question. I mean, we've got 500 years of restoration experience in this room. Somebody speak up. Come on. You don't want me to keep talking. You really don't.
Okay, I got a question for you.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
I just noticed this, and I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, but at the end of an estimate, you put the tax, then the overhead and profit, or do you put the overhead and profit, then the tax?
Well, it depends on your state, and Xactimate does a pretty good job of letting you know which order it should go in. But my understanding is it's overhead and profit and then tax because it's based on revenue.
Okay. I talked to recent public adjustment in our area, and they were saying you do it the other way, so the tax was put on first, and then the overhead and profit was a higher amount. Why do it? Because he's overhead and profit on the total plus the tax.
Well, I think that's probably correct. It's been a while since I looked at that back page that closely. But I don't worry about it. Just let Xactimate do it. And I think it is. It tax first and then overhead and profit on the tax because conceivably you're paying it and you've got expenses and overhead and burden that goes with that. So Arizona has started applying tax to the material only. Yes, true. And a lot of states have done that. Oh, look at that, Clark. Look at you. That's not Clark.
That's not mine. That is Stephen Hull. He ran with our idea, and he's been putting those on houses for the last week or two. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know how to not share it anymore, but there we go.
Nice.
I was just saying, nice nail polish, Clark.
Hey, I tried.
That was good. And what's that cost you? It costs you what, 75 cents a pop plus your time to go take it out there. But the level of brand awareness,
$1.05 a piece.
$1.05, you said?
With the sticker, yeah.
All in. That's awesome. That's good. So it's a long-term play though, right? It might be a year, it might be 2 years before someone calls you based on that. But they remember, that's one thing. People don't remember what you said. They barely remember what you did. But what people do remember is how you made them feel. Yep. You know how that makes people feel? It makes them feel like, oh, they thought enough of me to bring me this. It's awesome. And they don't realize that you're saving them thousands of dollars. Those are nasty breaks because they never break outside. They always break about a foot in the wall. Yeah. Well, what are you laughing at? You don't know about freezing, David, Florida guy.
I don't just work in Florida. Hey, I like pipe breaks wherever they happen. I'll take them in the wall. I'll take them in the slab. I'll take them overhead. Love them overhead.
Well, Phoenix, Arizona, that's where you get them overhead.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, sir.
I think that our gopher or our IT guy that was going to help us with the overlay map with everyone's businesses. Yes. I think that was Robert. And
no,
it wasn't. It was someone else. Okay.
Joe Ledbetter, and he was supposed to be here tonight, but I don't see.
Okay. Well, the reason I bring it up, and it is a switching subject, Jim was talking to me last week. Jim runs the business that he would probably benefit a lot of people from around the country from subs and in different job, project opportunities. And Jim, we've been formulating the population of this group into a mass list, and we're going to try to do an overlay into like a Google map, so it almost be geographical, and then point and click, and then get specific information about what they do and what they can do. So I don't know how far we are
pretty
from
fancy.
that.
No, we're close. We're close. We're not far at all. It'll be before Christmas.
Jim, if you can't turn on mute, you won't figure that out.
Hey, I just turned mute off.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm learning fast.
So here's the magic of what we're doing. And I had a conversation, I think I mentioned it to Watley today, and I also had a conversation with Joe, Jonathan. Oh, we got more people waiting to get in. Oh, there's Joe. Speaking of Joe Ledbetter, let's get that guy in here. Kevin Dooley. Tell me that's Kevin D. Tell me that's Kevin Dooley. Matt Callahan. I don't know Matt Callahan. Troy Hess. Let's get him in here. Kevin Dooley, the man with the best beard. I think, any competition, any beard competition, that guy wins. Of course, he shaves and he wakes up in the morning and it's like a chia face. I just don't get it.
Luke would argue.
Luke probably would. He probably would. But, that's what you get. Kevin Dooley, welcome to the party, man. This is the first one you've actually shown up for. Why don't you introduce yourself to the group?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Done. Kevin Dooley runs Restoration Co. out of Ontario?
I live in Ontario. Yeah, I live in Ottawa, but I work all over U.S. and Canada.
You've been going all over the place, spent some time in Puerto Rico, helping out restoration contractors, doing rental equipment, setting it up, taking it down, monitoring, all that shit. Welcome to the party, man. I was just about to talk. Joe, there he is. You guys came in at the same time. You're like twins or something.
I've been here for like 15 minutes listening to you guys.
Sorry, bro. Oh, let me get Troy Hess in here. Come on, Troy.
Hey,
okay.
Joe, you're on mute, Joe.
So I was talking to Joe, and I was talking to Watley, and in the magic of this group, and here's where other groups, and I won't even name them by name because this will be live somewhere else. This will be posted somewhere else. Other restoration contractor groups went wrong because they had to make a profit. At the end of the day, the profit motive took over from every other motive, and they cut deals with carriers in order to get work or do whatever. The magic of this group is we will never have to make that kind of profit, so we will never be in a position to cut those deals. But the magic of the group, and what we're talking about with this map overlay, we're going to have a list of all the restoration rebels throughout the country. We're going to overlay that onto a Google map. And then everyone's going to put that Google map with that overlay on their own websites. That's going to allow anyone in any part of the country who's looking for a restoration rebel to find it. And that's going to help with Google SEO. It's going to help with a lot of things. Joe, can you explain that a little bit better?
Yeah, so basically what we did is we collaborated on a Google form that'll collect all of the data. It'll automatically populate the Google layer map that we've created. And so once we have everybody submitting their form, we'll be able to email out the actual HTML code that you can just paste into your site. And if you need help pasting to your site, we'll walk you through it. Not a big deal. But it's really interactive. It gives you all the high-level information of all the rebels. Plus, it gives you the high-level information of what we kind of call vendors, right? People that support us in all different fashions, right? So it's really interactive. Your logos are very visible and present. At a glance, you can see coverage on a map. It ultimately creates a national presence, like immediately, as being a part of something. Instantly.
Overnight, we are bigger than a lot of programs out there. Yeah? Must have cut out a little bit. And the other thing that we're able to do is I told Jonathan this today, and I haven't told any of you that until just now. Every video I have, every post I have on my website anywhere, I invite you to take that and repurpose it as a blog post on your own site. Use my video and my content, reword it, rewrite it, but use it as content in your local market on your own site. And that allows us to have, once again, a national one voice presence as far as information and look and feel. And it helps you locally for your local SEO. Google loves video. Google loves fresh content, new fresh content. And that's just part of being in this group. We can do these magical things when no one here has to make a profit from it. When I'm not tied to, well, you can't use my stuff because it's mine and I got to make money. You know what? No, we can all benefit. And all of a sudden, this thing is gigantic and there's no stopping it. It's a freaking freight train because we are 5,000, 10,000 people strong. And we're going to be there. We're going to be there real quick.
Yeah, so so me and Andy have collaborated on the forum, and I think he's going to be launching that pretty soon, where we can actually start to collect all the data. Once we collect it, again, we'll populate it, push it out to everybody. You'll put it on your site, and then there'll be updates to it as we get new members that come in and people that fill out the forms after the fact. We do have to update the HTML. It won't automatically refresh. But to Andy's point on the SEO and the search optimization, here's a really interesting benefit. What's going to happen is everybody is going to get what's referred to as a backlink through their Google Organics. And that backlink is actually going to be quantified simply because of the relevant content that's coming from the Rebel site, directing it to your site via this layered map.
Yep.
So, guys, we're not saying it's going to give you a job. We're not saying it's going to make your phone ring. What we're saying is it's going to start to interconnect. And at some point, we do believe there's going to be some yielded results as a benefit of being on the list.
Yep. Exactly right. Which brings us to.
Hey, guy, hold on before you go along. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know how this is going to interact, but this is an example of. Let's see if it loads here. Right now, it's all black, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am part of another group that has this exact thing. It's Google Maps, and it looks like it's not going to load. So I'm going to give it 2 seconds longer, and I'm going to tap out. But I'm going to put an example of it on the Rebel page, just as what it's going to look like. But or we can just wait till Joe puts it together. But it's really cool.
Hey, to what Joe and Clark are doing, we've already started reaching out to other people to build the alliance in our markets. And I know, Clark, you've been doing this too intentionally. We're picking our peers. We're finding the best and the brightest. We had lunch today with someone, and we're scheduled for lunch tomorrow with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Start finding the people that you want to be your peers, the people that you want to be in relationships with in your local markets. And one of the things that we actually, this guy was real interested in earlier today was we have relationships where if we need 500,000 CFM of desiccant dehumidifiers, we can have that within 12 hours. I know 3 people on this call right now that can help me provide that.
Exactly right.
Turns comes to find out that my marketing manager, Sherry's on this call, and this guy had all of his techs quit in the last week.
Whoa.
Which means that that's probably real important to him. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't wander around, but he's looking for that kind of support. The bottom line is you never know. He gave us no indication of what was going on here. You have no idea what your people in your markets are going through and what they're challenged with. We reached out to this guy because he's a good peer, or has the potential to be a very good peer. I'd encourage you guys to do the same kind of stuff, and you never know when you develop allies as well as peers in the process of it.
Exactly.
That's
right.
how we grow this thing organically.
I'm telling you what, there's no competition. We are all in the same boat, or at least we're all boats in the same ocean. We're just trying to rise the tide. Hey, I think I got what you're talking about here. The TAD junkies, is it that you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
Clark? All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do that. Share screen. Share. Who can share? All panelists. Oh, no, that's not the right button. Share screen. I'm going to do that and share that. Okay. So these little skulls are all locations.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you explain those to me?
Well, go to the U.S. So it's interactive. Scroll to or slide to the U.S. side.
There we go.
I guess there's different levels. That's why there's different colors and different people who do different things, maybe moderators or admins or something like that. But I believe you can click on one, and it should populate. The ability is there to populate a company's name.
Wait, who's that in Bend? Who's Derek McRentals? What are you doing in my hometown? All right.
But
it.
That could be this entire notes section could be what services do they provide, what's their number, what's the best way to contact them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just think I think it could turn into something really good. So Joe,
we're going to have a vendor version. We're going to have a vendor logo, and we're going to have a Rebel logo. And they're all
great domain and page authority too. That's why it's such a great backlink. It'll improve both your domain and page authority.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we want to look like one big force, because we are one big force, because there is no competition, because we all are working together. And this is going to make a big difference in everyone's click-throughs, everyone's you're going to get calls in your local market from this. The other thing we're going to get tied to this is if we can figure out a way, is true customer feedback and ratings. And that's going to force people to do good work, because their ratings are going to be publicized. Am I a 3-star restorer or a 5-star restorer? And hopefully we're all, speaking to your point, Mr. Sweet, of finding the best of the best. Hopefully we're all 5-star restorers. And we only, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So let's spend time with people that are higher than us. So they're more
right.
average.
Train up.
Train up. All right, I'm going to stop this. Here we go.
Here's
if I can expand. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, if it's about that map and our power as a big group, I'm certainly not sales and marketing, but is there a model that we could start approaching end users, like large accounts, and that now all of a sudden we're a preferred vendor in a way of a national chain or national group that has dots all over the map?
And Joe has done this extensively, and I really appreciate you being on the call, Joe, and I appreciate your time over Thanksgiving. And your input is just incredible. But Joe's been down this road a couple times, so he's got a template, and I'm a big believer in what it can do and what it can work. So we're just going to push the buttons and see what happens.
Yeah, and from a marketing perspective, I'm going to go back to the image you shared a minute ago, Andy. The left-hand column, that will pre-populate with all the information that we're collecting on the forms. So it's going to give information, as an example, to your address, your location. It's going to say how many vehicles you have, how many pieces of drying equipment do you have, how many employees do you have. So at a glance, you can see true size of our colleagues across the country.
And now, call me, push to call, click to call.
Yeah. It's all hyperlinked, right? So anybody that finds this or utilizes it, it's going to be easily to connect and transfer to us. But now, what the power is within the individuals, right? So let's just say, Clark, I'm not sure where you're from, but let's just say, Clark, you're down south, and you have the opportunity to go talk to a national Fortune 500 company that's home quarters is in your backyard. Well, you have something to go talk to them about now. You can say, listen, Phil, I know you got 300 locations. I did my homework. Guess what? I got 300 Rebel guys that can be at your property.
Done.
Done. Right? This gives us something to go and talk to people that we maybe have never thought we could talk to. Right? So it's the power, and it's going to live on your own site. So you're going to take ownership of it. There's a lot of power that we're going to be developing through all of this as we move forward. but we can only do it through collaboration, like these meetings, these conversations, so that everybody can inject something, right? Because everyone in this group has something to offer. On a side note, I'm sorry to go off on a small tangent, but one of the many things that I've learned over 22 years in this industry is that I've learned some of the best stuff from the lowest paid employee. I've learned some of the best things from the highest paid employee. That taught me that everyone that does what we do has something to offer. So everyone listening today and everyone listening tomorrow has something to offer this, and we just have to continue to take it in, digest it, and move it forward to the best of our ability. We will all benefit in a way that we can't even fathom today. But as a group, we just have to maintain, continuity, right? So, but the map is really cool, guys. It's a start. We've got a lot of great ideas, and I think we're going to start to see a lot of traction from an organizational standpoint, amongst ourselves. And I think that's the power that we need now to move this forward.
I would love to see this map. I mean, I think our next step is Australia.
You just got to publish that. You got to publish that form.
I will.
It's ready to go.
So now y'all have fair warning. I'm going to publish that form. Well, you told me to stop. You told me it wasn't ready. Is it ready?
No, it's good. It's golden, man. Tested
right.
everything. Everything was working.
All right.
Fired off.
All right. Well, we'll be.
Is everyone included?
What do you mean everyone? Well, everyone, vendors and rebels, yes.
So we're all
Andy,
included. I wanted to make sure I did it.
No, it's not done. No, it's a form that you will have to fill out. It's an online form that you will have to fill out. I'll put a link to it in the group here shortly.
Andy, can you hear me?
I can. Who is that? Who dis?
It's Watley.
Yeah, man.
Hey guys, it scares me to death to think that all you'd have to do is be incorporated into the Facebook group, and all of a sudden you're getting thrown on Joe's map that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into, and everybody would otherwise show up pretty equal at the outset. Sweet, can you stop digging in your garbage?
Yeah.
Please? Thanks. Okay.
I'm muting him.
So here's a thought. Joe, what do you think about this? In the context of the markets that I operate, I would know the best people to call for mitigation. I would know the best people to call for abatement. I would know the best people to call for contents. You know that as an operator by which the markets that you operate. We know our peers. We know who the most credible player is in each market. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to scrub? You want to scrub this list, right? Geographically, based on your area.
I'm thinking about doing weighted averages. So in this context, so if Clark weighs in and endorses somebody and does a peer endorsement for somebody in the network, then Clark's input would have a heavier weight than maybe somebody newer to the network or maybe unknown. And Clark has earned that. And so you do a weighted average where your endorsement means more, right?
Yeah.
And subsequently, if Clark endorses you, then you would get a higher rating. And that rating might be you are favored on the rotation. And we do this in a really quantitative, transparent way, which would be unique to the movement, because every other TPA program I've seen show up, or even DKI, it's not necessarily transparent, and it's certainly not quantitative, right?
And I think we can talk about that on our next admin call, I think, at the technical ability. I'm behind it 100%. I think there needs to be some value and some meritocracy built in. I'm a big believer in that. And transparency the whole way. We need to know that it's a true rotation. And what's that rotation based on? Absolutely. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, it is. I just wanted to get Joe's perspective. Is that possible to do that weighted average where we could weigh?
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's definitely possible. Like Andy said, we got to have an admin conversation to figure out technically how we would actually go about creating those filters per se, right? Or scrubbing that information. But it's definitely doable. I mean, the list is shareable. It has to get updated regularly. So as new inputs come in, it would allow us to, say, okay, we can scrub it through the system. So it is possible for sure. Yeah.
And that takes us to the point. I don't know if did anyone see the survey that I put up before this call in order to register? Did anyone see the survey? I put up 4 questions. No?
No.
Nobody. All right. Okay. So I'll ask the questions, not as official as a survey, but what is this worth to you? And I'm not asking for an answer right now, but I'm asking you to think about this. Because up until this point, this movement is free for all. You get in, you agree to abide by our rules and standards, and you get in. As we provide these next level services, these next levels of value, these vendor agreements, and see the survey that I put up. Who's listening to the Facebook page? Stop it. Okay. It's not inconceivable that we could have a group health plan. It's not inconceivable we could have a group insurance plan for liability and workers' comp and hazard insurance. These are all very, very, very much possible, but they don't come for free. So sooner rather than later, we are going to have to charge for this. We're going to have a paywall. We're going to have a membership due of some kind. So I want you to think about, I want you to be honest with yourself. What kind of value you're getting out of the group now? What kind of value do you see getting out of the group in the future? And what's it worth to you? What's it worth to you? We will be a nonprofit. We will never be in a position where we need to make millions and millions of dollars. But we will be in a position where we need to have staff. We need to have full-time staff. It's not just a part-time guy who I write estimates during the day, and in the evening I try to keep my hands, in the rebel movement and keep it moving. There needs to be a full-time position, and that just costs money, right? So we got to pay for it somehow. So I welcome your feedback in the group. I welcome your feedback anytime. You guys know how to get a hold of me. So just be thinking about that. Kevin, why don't you weigh in on purpose? Tell us about what your thoughts are on our guiding star, our North Star purpose, or what your version of that may be for our group. Because at the end of the day, we're going in a direction. We are here for a reason, and we need to agree on that reason.
I'm not quite sure fully how to answer that yet, but I do think before we get much further into anything, we do have to define what our MTP is, massive transformative purpose. Just speaking from my own viewpoint right now, I feel like a lot of the conversations we have are batting towards price and the adversarial relationship that we have with TPAs and insurers, etc. And I think we need to transition, or not transition, that's not really the right word, but we need to really define what it is we want to seek out and change. And build that foundation from there. And to me, I've been saying it now since the last summit. I really feel like transparency is what's going to change everything. I know that's pretty vague in itself, but I feel when we can deliver transparency to the trade, that will solve a multitude of the problems that we're discussing on a regular.
Exactly right. There was someone that commented on I had this third party talking to me. They want my documentation. Should I ignore them? No, you should not ignore them. You should give them everything you have, because we should not be afraid of everything. We should have the utmost transparency in everything we do.
Joe and I talked about this actually the other day. But I kind of feel that, as an idea anyways, and not for tonight, but in a future discussion.
Sure.
We were just batting around the idea of standardized claims handling from our perspective.
For sure.
And I think that's something that maybe our group could be the group that kind of pushes that forward. And that could be maybe the start of creating a bridge to engage with carriers. to help kind of better the industry at large.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot that the RTPE program can play into that and inform the process. I know David Sweet, you're hardcore into the RTPE, and I'm a big believer in it. And I told, So who's leading up the RTPE program? I'm sorry, you're muted.
Ken Larson.
Ken Larson.
I told Ken Larson by no unequivocal terms, no illusion. I am behind the RTPE. Whatever the Rebels can do to help that movement go forward and help that become a thing, that is going to play a large role in what this industry looks like going forward. And that goes to documentation and process, and how we as Rebels can help inform that process and documentation. We're going to do it because it helps us all, and it's all about transparency. You're exactly right. And those of you guys that don't know, RTPE, Registered Third Party Evaluator, I'm calling it the white hat TPA, for lack of a better term. I'm sure Ken Larson would slap me upside the head if I called it that, but there's a whole there's a whole industry on the other side, the construction consultants that come in and Monday morning quarterback everything we do. They're going to come in and say we're charging too much, or they wouldn't have done it that way. They would have done it this way. Well, what the registered third-party evaluator does is take someone expert in the craft, expert in the field, who is not associated with the claim. They are out here, and they get to say, well, this is what the standard is. This is what the standard of care was. I don't have a dog in this fight, but this is the way it should have been done if we followed all the standards that we say we follow. And that removes it from us being, we don't have any influence in that third party, the registered RTPE. I see that as being a big way for us to shed this thought of conflict of interest when it comes to scoping and documenting and things like that. And I think that's going to go a whole long ways to making us better at what we do. So, Jason, you got to run. See you, buddy. Good to see you. All right. Talk to you next week. Hey, Kevin, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? Is that about it?
No, it's good for now.
You Canadians, man, you're so easy. Just so easy going.
You're so laid back. Check his pulse, would you? Where's Megan? Check his pulse.
Oh, man. Well, we're coming up 5 minutes to the bell. Does anyone have any burning questions, once again, for the group or problems they ran into this week? Christine, yes? Oh, Christine's just waving at my boy. She's waving at you.
Hey, guys.
Yes. Who is that?
Hey, I wanted to introduce myself.
Adam. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, so name's Adam Ogilvy. I'm the owner of Orc Services. Been kind of sitting back in the shadows, kind of watching you guys, and really like what I'm hearing and seeing and trying to get more involved. But one of the challenges, we're a Florida-based company, and ever since the citizens invoked some sort of caps on water, I've been running into $3,000 caps on water mitigation. So they tell the insureds, hey, you got a $3,000 cap, and we're not gonna approve anything over $3,000 without being approved in writing by us first. And that's happened twice over the past month. It's brand new, and it's not listed in any policies, but they're trying to enforce it. Something I've been trying to get around.
David, is that true? David Sweet, is that true? It's not listed in any of the policies down there? Hold on, Trash Boy. Hold on. Let me unmute you. There you are. Go ahead.
Digging through the trash again. It's true in that they put the wording that's similar to that exists, but that's not how it's written nor how it's going to be interpreted. It really goes back to trying to prevent people from doing $100,000 worth of digging up sewer pipes in the middle of the house over a weekend and sending in a bill. That was more or less their thing of it. Adam, if you'd like to contact me directly, I'll tell you how to get right around that.
Okay.
Because that's not at all how that's written, and it's certainly not the intent of the legislation as it was passed.
All right.
And
Yeah.
that
David?
legislation's not going to last through. It's going to be challenged in the Supreme Court, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to last. Is it?
Yeah. No, that won't last. How do you take a policy that has unlimited water damage coverage and limit it, but only if you think you'd like to limit it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't have the coverage. We're just saying we have the coverage if we agree you have the coverage. Well, how's that any different than any other time they'd like to pay a, $2,000 or $3,000 bill and decide you shouldn't make any more? So at least Citizens is kind of a non-event. There's others that are worse. But like I said, if you guys want to contact me directly, I'm happy to discuss that with you. And I have attorneys that have gone through that, and I can at least give you a heads up on it.
Perfect.
All right, great. I'll definitely do that.
Not a problem.
Okay. Well, it's been.
Hey, hold on one second, Andy.
Whoa.
Hold on one second. One last thing.
I'm holding.
Tyler Perry, not the famous producer or director, had an issue about after-hours charge per SLA, but our company's hours do not match. How is this fair? Tyler,
Okay.
can you
Had an
jump?
issue about after hours per service level. Oh, you're talking about program work, service level agreement, but our company hours do not match. How is this fair? It ain't. But go ahead.
Tyler?
I mean, just how do we deal with this? I mean, we're putting in an after hours charge and they're telling us we can't, but we went through admins that were, not in the office, taking these calls, and it's just.
What's in the agreement, Tyler?
Yeah,
Tyler,
what's the agreement say?
What's the master service agreement say?
It says to 7 p.m. So our office hours are till about 5. So I mean, the call came in. I think it was like 5:30. But we sent a crew out and everything. And then we got thrown off the job per the customer because she was confused. It's actually been a fun claim, but they're telling us no work was performed, but there was work performed. I mean, we went through our paperwork, we went through our scope. So.
Well, you were dispatched. Very least you should get a dispatch fee, but at the end of the day, that's what we're all fighting against is the stupid rules that don't allow us to make any money.
Hey, Tyler, did you pay overtime to your people?
No, I don't believe we did.
You might not have a case then.
Yeah.
Really, but
if you paid OT to your people, you can usually make it stick.
Yes,
right.
true.
But if you agree to the master service agreement with the TPA, you're kind of stuck. I mean, fair, unfair. I mean, I guess the best way to do is pull out and leave them and see if
7
they
p.m.
get back
Eastern or
with
Central or Pacific.
Pacific.
There's the league. There's a lawyer.
Boom.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but I think he's right. If you incurred overtime costs because of that, you would have a Department of Labor could back you up on it. But
okay,
do you have a delegate with that company that just can say, hey, you should at least get a dispatch fee like a service emergency services fee or something.
They're just not giving us the after hours. I mean, that's the concern there.
Yeah,
well,
it may be a lost cause.
Right.
But if you didn't have to pay your team, you haven't really lost anything other than saying, hey, that's usually what we do for our regular customers, maybe.
Right. You're absolutely right. But it just comes down to a principle there,
Sure does. That's why we're here. That's
right.
why we're all here.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tyler.
Yeah.
But this is where they eat your profit, Tyler. This and 1,000 other ways. This is a death of 1,000 cuts. It still winds you up at the end of the day, dead.
Yeah. Still bleeding.
Hey, Tyler, at least it's not code blue.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. On that note, hey, you guys stay in touch, stay in the group, stay involved. I know we had 32 people here, but we had 33. There's Nathan Raymond. He didn't get in the room, but we're going to close it off before he gets in. We've got 1,100 people in the group, and I know not near that many people are active. So reach out and ask questions, but more than that, answer questions. get in there and provide value. And that's what I'm telling everyone that comes into the group asking for something. Well, I say give value first. Give value. Give more value than you take. And if we all just give more than we want to take, then this group is going to continue to be something very, very magical. And I appreciate all y'all being here and being a part of it. And it just gets more exciting every day. So you guys are awesome. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks.